Welcome, my friends and enemies. Glad you are here. I am once again joined by the bacon-loving Inquisitor Matt.
Here, supporting our brothers in distress over in Great Britain. Eat bacon, freedom from Sharia law.
I'm not English, so they're not really my brothers, but yeah.
Well, they're our brothers in Christ.
Questionable. They're a godless
Well,
society.
Maybe not the Muslim ones, maybe not the Muslim ones.
But yes,
broadcasting live from the bowels of America.
Live
America,
from
New Jersey.
my armrests being uneven. That's kind of weird. Anyway, professionals. No, my armrest was like this, and I was just like, why is my shoulder singing? Anyway, we have a couple topics that we'll go through, so we might as well start. So here we go. Rumor Steam Deck 2 release window potentially narrowed down, because there's no easier way to say we don't know, but we're assuming than this. Valve may be planning to release the Steam Deck 2 in 2028, according to one leaker. Official news on the sequel to the successful handheld has been sparse, but the portable PC space has grown increasingly crowded in the past few years. Despite the growing competition, the next Steam Deck could take a while before it hits the market. I mean, that's, 3 years away? Almost 2 years, but currently 3 years away, depending on when. While Valve's earlier attempts at breaking into the hardware market did not make the best impression among fans, the Steam Deck was a different story. It wasn't the first handheld PC, but it did popularize the concept, kicking off a wave of similar systems from multiple manufacturers. Now, the Steam Deck sales have dropped after Switch 2 reveal, and Xbox has revealed its own lineup of handhelds, but it could still be a bit before Valve's next system arrives, which personally I think is better for them, because when it shows up, it's going to put the freaking Switch 2 down in a hole 6 feet. And it's going to be great. Leaker claims Steam Deck will come 2028. Gaming hardware leaker Kepler L2 commented on NeoGAF thread, whatever that is, that the Steam Deck would arrive in 2028 in response to another user wondering if Valve would overshadow the ROG Xbox Ally by releasing its new system sooner. That would place it 6 years after the initial Steam Deck and 5 years after the OLED version. That may seem like a long wait, but Valve has previously said it won't release the Steam Deck 2 until it can achieve a generation leap in performance without sacrificing the console's battery life. Giving those earlier comments, a 2028 release window would not be too surprising.
Let me just comment here.
Sure.
So people don't realize the amount, when you have a complicated product like this, the amount of planning that has to go in, not only the physical manufacturer, but the software, the supply logistics, the legal issues. For example, they have to develop a code for it while someone's developing hardware, and they have to go back and forth every time the hardware gets updated. The code has to be updated and tested them. Then they develop prototypes, and all along the way, there's teams analyzing the engineering and manufacturing these things. And like literally a year before they even physically make a final device, they have to have a whole line of supply chain for it. It's a really complicated process. And so saying 2028, it's already 2025, right? And what do you have?
It's almost 2026.
Yeah. So, I mean, people, I'm not surprised it's going to take till 2028 for it.
Well, they said they want the generational leap, and if they do the generational leap, you're going to, by definition, have to wait, because the generations. We're hitting that peak point on regular consoles where you can't really improve, because you're starting to flatline. Like, you can still kind of slowly go up, but you're kind of flatlining compared to like going from the NES and then shooting up. And then
in computer hardware terms, right? Generational leap is like 9 months. So the hardware they would make.
I don't know if they're I don't know if they're expressively just hardware as much as hardware and software.
Let me just finish here. Let me just if the hardware if they were to release the device right now, it will be 3 or 4 generations ahead of the previous device in terms of capability, right?
Yeah.
With the same battery life, with power reduction, ever since due to environmental reasons, for the fake environmental crisis they're claiming it is.
Don't get into it. Just keep going. Stay on
target. No, I'm going to say I want to understand the origin of this.
Stay on target.
So maybe 20, 25 years ago, with computer technology, They just kept adding on and drawing more power to make the devices more powerful, right? So then we had that fake crisis. So they said, okay, you can increase power, you have to introduce power reduction technology. So they started into the concept of gating, where the parts of the chip that aren't being used get turned depowered and all this. There's a lot of stuff, right? So as a side effect of that, the idea of using less power um, became baked into the idea of increasing capability. In other words, it became good for its own reason to use less power.
Yeah.
Because as it turns out, as you shrink the circuitry pathways and all that, and the nanometers of the circuitry, the more power it uses, the more interference you get from line to line, device to device. So by reducing power, the devices actually run better on the lower nanometer circuitry.
I'd
right?
also imagine it would also reduce wear and tear because it's not being punched through multiple times every day or whatever.
Not so much because
I'm not saying like exponentially or anything. I'm just saying like the less, like if something's depowered because you're not using that function, that aspect or that component isn't going to be burning through things over and over again.
Okay, keeping the physics really simple here. Okay, as long as the device is plugged in and the power button is on, every single part of that circuit is being exposed to the electromagnetic field of the device, and that's what damages the hardware. It's not the flow of power; it's the presence of the electric field agitating the molecules in the material. You know.
Okay. But I think when they say generational leap, they're trying to more or less take basically, it'd be similar to like the PS5 to the PS5 Pro. I don't think was a generational leap. I think that was barely an upgrade. Like it had some things that were to it, but not enough to be like I'm gonna sell my PS5 and get a PS5 Pro.
Well, I don't
think it was worth that much of a jump. But if you went from like a PS3 or a PS4 to a PS5 Pro, then maybe that would be a jump because it's an actual legit generational jump. But to me, the PS5 Pro is just like an OLED. It's an upgraded version of what it currently, like the PS5 is. It can do some things a little bit better, but it's not like a massive jump. But I think what they're trying to do for the Switch 2, or not Switch 2, goodness gracious, the Steam Deck 2, is they're trying to say, well, here's what we had for the Steam Deck, and here's where we want to go with the Steam Deck. And in order for us to get there, we have to get the blueprints, build the architecture of what we want, and then we want it to actually jump quite a bit. It's kind of like going, well, we're 720, but like super high res compared to the Switch 1 720. And we're going to, like, because if you compare a Steam Deck and a Switch, the original Switch, even the OLED, it's miles better than the Switch, even the OLED version. Just because the quality of the 720 is actually like high definition, where it was kind of fuzzy and on the Switch. But if you take that and say, well, now we're going to do like 1440 on the Switch 2, you need a lot of extra firepower and architecture to support that without draining your battery life, but still giving somebody something that they could use. And I think that they have a plan, which obviously they'd have to because Gabe's not an idiot. They have a plan to get there, but they're like, we need to wait this long in order to make sure, one, we have advanced far enough, that we're wanting to be far enough ahead for it to be difficult for the competition to catch up in the handheld sphere, which I think is what they're going for. Now, that might increase the costs. I don't know, but maybe that they want to use that technology, but they want to wait for it to get older, like that 9-month older type thing, where it becomes cheaper, and then they can put that into their system, but they just have it obviously coded from the Linux SteamOS perspective, just amazingly enough, where it just outputs just really good quality. I don't know.
So, okay, so let me start by saying propaganda is not necessarily a bad thing. It had negative connotation for reasons, but like marketing is a type of propaganda. Okay,
how dare you?
And
you communist.
The term generation is only meaningful in context, right? So what I think the Steam people were trying to do is say, okay, we want a generational leap. So they're trying to make a device that in every way matters. If you own the previous one, you'll say, wow, this thing is better in every way, right? And they're trying to associate that with a generation in context of the Steam Deck. So that's I think what they're trying to do, and whether it's successful or not depends on the device itself.
Yeah, well, like I was saying, I feel like the generational is not the generational in the same sense that everyone else typically would use it. I think it has to do with they want to make their Steam Deck 2 so much different than Steam Deck 1 that it can operate better, it's more powerful, it doesn't sacrifice battery life, it can do more functions, the Steam OS will be more complete and full. But also it's going to make potentially the equivalent, like if PlayStation came out with a true handheld instead of just their little wireless one that you have to have a PS5 to utilize, but like a standalone, if they had an actual standalone, it would blow past it in specs. Because I don't think Sony, I mean, I don't even think Xbox, because Xbox really isn't designing theirs. They're more letting ASROG do their thing and then adding their stuff to it. Like I don't think it's an Xbox design. But if PlayStation was to come out with one, they'd have to wait like another 8 years because they have to build up the architecture, they have to test it, they have to do all that stuff. Where Steam, or Valve, I should say, is already there, already doing it because it's already a product that they have. So, but a different leaker, Moore's Law is Dead, has claimed that Sony aims to release the handheld PS6 into late 2026. I doubt that, or early 2028. I don't see them having a decent handheld. Now, their handheld, I don't think it's going to be a true handheld. I think it's going to be a rehash of their prior handheld that they've had, the $150 one.
Well, the Steam Deck is basically a handheld PC.
No, I'm talking about Sony.
Oh,
the PlayStation version. Because the Sony the PS5 version is literally just a controller, but you have just the actual outsides of the controller, and then the inside's just a screen.
What's the PlayStation one called?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
The Pro Console. Sony PlayStation 5 Pro Console.
No, that's the new PS5 Pro. That's the
PlayStation Portable.
Yeah, that one probably.
Okay, let's see what the tech specs are on that.
Because it's all it does is it goes to the internet and connects to yours, so you have to have a prior PS5.
MIP CPU.
It's pulling up the PSP, and I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. But yeah, the remote player, PlayStation Portal remote player. It's literally just a controller, but the middle of the controller's gone, and you have a little screen there. But you have to have internet access to operate it, because it has to connect to your PlayStation. And your PlayStation has to have internet access. So, like, for example, if you're on a trip, but your PS5's at home, you're like, oh, I'll just use this handheld to play it. Well, while you're gone, let's say the power goes out and you lose your internet access. Well,
yeah, so basically it's a way of accessing your PlayStation remotely.
That's why it's called the PlayStation Portal. It's just a remote player for PS5. That's all it is. So
that's not a bad idea.
I mean, I can do that with my Steam Deck. I can literally do this with the PlayStation Portal. Yeah. I've done that on my Switch. I've played Stellar Blade on my Steam Deck before Stellar Blade came out on PC.
Well, in theory, for example, I have I have a Windows.
It's rather easy to set up, surprisingly.
Yeah, I have a Windows PC over there that I run my Windows games on. That the ones I can't get under Linux very easily, or that and the way I run it, I don't. But the way I access it is through a remote desktop from my Linux computer.
Yeah.
Right. So in theory, I could set that up so I could have my laptop in California and be doing that too.
Well, the problem with the Portal and other things like it is that the quality is going to be based on your internet. So if your internet's fast, you'll be better, but there's always going to be input lag. Like everything's going to be laggy because it's like
latency.
Latency. It's you're really far away, or like if you're upstairs, like I'm in my basement. So if I'm upstairs and I pull my Steam Deck out and I play on my PlayStation, not going to be a whole lot of big deal. There's not going to be a huge difference. But if I go out of state, there's going to be a bit of latency.
Yeah, if you
and that in some game or most games is deadly unless you're playing like a really slow base game.
Yeah, if you have a fiber connection on both ends, you'll be okay. That's about the only circumstance, though.
Yeah, and that's not going to be the average. The thing about the Steam Deck is that the Steam Deck, because that Sony play the PlayStation 5 Portal is a handheld, but it's not a standalone handheld. It's a additional, like it's an accessory. So where the Steam Deck, it's the whole thing. So if you have games that you can play offline, you can play it wherever you are. Yeah. Same thing for the Switch. But if you want to access multiplayer stuff, or the game requires you to connect to the internet to play, like a Fortnite type game or something, you have to have internet. Now, I can use my phone, flip it on to hotspot, and then just throw it in my pocket, and then I can just play online on my Steam Deck or my Switch as I want to. But between the Switch and the Steam Deck has so much more power. It's so much more like everything's just better. It's hard to see what the Switch even like compares to, because it's so much better designed. I don't, there's no way to get around it. But obviously,
well, they got to put the device. I mean, look, they're in the market, so they got to compete. And if it's good, it's good. If not, it's not.
Well, that's the thing is I think that they're trying. The reason they're going to be doing a 2028, and they've had years, obviously, since the first one, to utilize the first design and then change it and tweak it to where it would work best in the Steam Deck 2. And by the time it comes out, obviously Switch 2s will be purchased. Xbox's ROG Ally will be purchased. Possibly this new PlayStation handheld, but I think the PlayStation handheld is just going to be a PlayStation Portal, but for the PS6. That's what I think.
It sounds reasonable.
But if that's true, then Steam Deck may have a solid competitor around its launch. But no, that won't have a solid competitor. Even if it won't release soon enough for the Xbox versus Valve battle some had anticipated. Of course, neither Valve nor Sony has announced specific release windows for their respective handhelds, so both timelines are still uncertain. Now, here's the other thing. Valve doesn't have to compete with Xbox or Sony, because they have an entirely different system. Where Xbox, you'd think that they'd have more to compete with, because you have like the Microsoft Store on the computer, but you could also have Steam.
What they're competing for is a chunk of time you as a user use to play games. It's not. I mean,
yeah, but that's what I'm saying is that even if the people have the ROS or not ROG Ally for Xbox, they will turn that thing in a heartbeat if the Steam Deck 2 comes out, and it just absolutely blows away everything. Especially because how much you have to pay for the ROG Ally.
I'm not saying that's not true. I'm saying is
because the Xbox handheld's supposed to be like $800.
What these devices are doing is saying, play me for 2 hours instead of that guy. So
yeah, I get that. I'm talking just like the quality, the type of game, because like for PlayStation and Xbox, in order to play online, you have to have a subscription. You don't for a Switch or for a Steam Deck. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes to games that can be played, well, Sony and Xbox games are now showing up more and more on Valve's platform. So, like the popular ones, you have Ghost of Tsushima, Stellar Blade, pick popular games that are coming out, God of War, etc. They're all coming out on Valve. Valve has tons of games, but they also get them for cheaper. And the people who are the digital-only bros don't have to worry about it, but Valve also has you protected if, for whatever reason, they stop carrying, because they have to shut down or something. They basically just give you all your games for free. Or not for free, but like to keep permanently. Similar to GOG. So it's just like Valve has way more value to it, in my opinion. And it's also not anti-gamer or anti-consumer. And everyone who's going on all about the whole, but Visa, MasterCard, I'm like, yes, but they're doing that because they have to, not because they want to. It's not they don't desire this. This is an outcome they're bullied into. They don't have a choice. Otherwise, they stop being a business entirely. What Valve's generational leap might look like is also subject to speculation right now. But fans may have some hints. In 2024, some Valve patents hinted at Steam Deck upgrades like improved streaming and VR support. It's worth noting that companies sometimes patent technologies without plans to integrate it immediately, and Valve could also implement the new systems in different Steam Deck models before the Deck 2. I don't know why they would do that because they already have the OLEDs out. Gamers will have to wait for the official news and blah 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 blah. These guys gave it a 10 out of 10 for quality. Now, I will say about the Valve patents, like improved streaming and VR support. There's another topic that might hint at another thing. I don't know if you've heard about this yet, but Valve trademarked Steam Frame computer console hardware. So Valve is finally coming into the console wars with their own PC console.
Well, I mean,
allegedly.
What they have could basically be a console anyway, right? So,
well, no, like a home-based console, like a box, like basically like a PC that you.
No, I get what you're saying, but I'm saying that the device they already produced literally can be plugged into a TV anyway, right?
Yeah. You have to have the right block, which I do. It's like $80 block, but that thing is worth it. It's totally worth it.
Yeah.
But this would be like I have my PC, and then I could buy this Steam thing to have for my gaming, so my PC can actually stream stuff better. Because at the moment, I struggle. Like I can play Valheim on max settings, but if I stream it, it stutters. So I have to turn basically all the features off, which I can still. I mean, I can still stream it. It still looks nice and everything. Like it's not like it's a super gorgeous game, but the God rays and stuff will go away, and LOD and all that type of stuff kind of disappears. But this could potentially replace custom game computers, because if it has the capacity to be even slightly customizable when it comes to like a graphics card or a processor or whatever, that could change a lot of things. I don't think it will be that much, but if it comes out like, hey, if this is something like this is console, you have to change the whole. You'd have to change the whole thing in the inside. Yeah, I get that.
One thing streamers do that you don't do is edit their videos, and
thanks. Throw me into the bus.
But it's important. Those high-end gaming PCs also render videos when you after you do the editing extremely fast. So it's like a dual use thing, you know.
Well, yeah, I want to basically do
like
that.
You'll be shocked. I have a 7950X, which was in its generation was the most powerful AMD chip with 64 gigs of RAM, and when I've rendered video on this thing, it's blazingly fast compared to any other, you know, like just I'm shocked how fast it is.
Yeah, but I'm saying like this would mean I could have all my PC games and everything explicitly dedicated to a particular machine that could potentially be highly portable. Because like I have a bag down here that I can put my Xbox Series X or my PS5 in. I can't do both, but I can do one or the other. And lately it's been the PS5 because I can play Time Splitters at my in-laws. But I can put it in a bag and carry it around with me with all the accessories and everything I need, because I carry my Steam Deck. Okay, here's what I put in the bag: PS5, my controllers, my cords, cables, all that type of stuff. My laptop, because there's a slot for the laptop with all of its power cords and cables and stuff. I carry headphones, which I have to carry on the outside because they're too big. Not these ones, but different ones. Then I carry my Switch OLED, and my Steam Deck. I carry all that with me when I go on long trips because I don't know what I'm going to be doing or what I'm going to be interested in using at the time. And then I have also my power line adapters so I can hook up, because my in-laws' house doesn't have great internet. So if I can plug directly into it, it's much more secure and steady.
Yeah.
And even then it's a little iffy, but I don't get very good reception out there because they live in the boonies. But I can carry all that in a bag. So if this thing can is about the same size as a PS6, or I guess I presume PS6, but a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, it'll be in good shape. But I also like the idea because it'll make more PC gamers. Because PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo cannot compete on game prices. They just can't. It's not possible. So while Sony, Xbox, and Nintendo are going $70, $80 freaking Steam's gonna be sitting there going like, yeah, you want this game for half off? You can't beat that. But you also don't have to worry about losing your games, because once you purchase it, it's in your library indefinitely. So it's just like, even like the thing with the crew's now fixed to a place where you can play it. It's playable now.
It might. I mean, it could. There's always been a divide between console gamers and PC gamers.
And this might be the link. That's my point.
Could be, but
it could be.
I don't know. I just see console gamers as their own thing,
Well, I consider this a Steam console, because Steam is technically a console. It's built into another physical media that does a whole bunch of other things. So, Valve has registered 2 trademarks for Steam Frame, one which covers the realm of computer hardware, and the other covers the realm of computer games consoles. These trademarks hint at Valve's plan to release new hardware devices complementing its existing Steam Deck PC handheld. And this is where the cool part is. This is where the PS5 and the PS5 Portal. The PS5 is explicitly an accessory, where the Steam Deck is explicitly its own thing. So they're two different things, but they can do essentially the same thing. Give me a sec. I'm about to have the sneeze fest of the century. Apologies. Woo! I have this weird ear infection thingy going on, and it causes drainage to go down my throat, and it just jacks with everything and causes me to sneeze like crazy lately. So what I was mentioning, the other one is like improved streaming and VR support. That could be for the Steam Deck. It could be for the Steam Deck and the Steam Frame. So, what's worth noting here is that Valve's trademarks are broad. While they cover computer hardware and computer game consoles, they also cover video game accessories and computer peripherals. This means that Valve's Steam Frame may not be a Steam-powered console. I don't know why they wouldn't make it a Steam-powered console, but Valve has not commented on these trademarks. However, there is speculation that Valve may be working on a follow-up for its Valve Index VR headset. There are rumors that a new Valve VR headset codenamed Deckard, that's a weird name, is in the works. There are also rumors that Valve...
Blade Runner.
I know, but it's a play on Steam Deck. It's just Deckard is a weird word.
I know, but the reason... do you ever see the movie Blade Runner?
I was so young. I don't remember very much of it.
The main character was Deckard.
Oh. Well, it's also sci-fi.
So they're doing a associating a memory of one thing with another. There's a name for that.
It's a play on words, yeah.
No, play on words. There's a way you get someone to think about something and remember it by naming it in something out of the other thing. That's why people name like companies after like fantasy characters and stuff like that. It keeps it. It makes you more aware of it when you hear the name.
Unless you're not aware of it, then you're just as lost as ever.
Yeah.
There are also rumors that Valve has a second-generation Steam controller in the works, and that was a weird one. Valve trademarked Steam Frame intended to cover the category, blah, blah. That's just them posting on X. The popularity of the Steam Deck could leave Valve to develop a more powerful desktop console-like device, which is what they should do, honestly. This would allow Valve to deliver a console-like PC gaming experience using SteamOS. That said, this device would not feature many real advantages over traditional desktop PCs. I mean, if you make it well, the price would be that point. Price and power is a big block for a lot of people. I mean, if you can buy a PS5 Pro for what, $700 or something now, like some ridiculous number.
Oh, $700.
Yeah, $700. Well, what can you buy with a PC for that? Not that much. not if you're going for top tier pricing for like the average console experience. So if they're coming out with that average console experience, like if you're getting the Steam frame and you're getting at least PS5 or PS6 quality,
with a $700 PC, you can play, I'm going to say 75% of the games on Steam in an enjoyable frame rate.
Yeah, but I'm saying like how Xbox and PlayStation 5 or Xbox and Sony, when you play their games, they're optimized so they look really, really, really good.
No, I'm not.
But it's all with like stock stuff. Like they're not constantly upgrading and swapping out stuff on that same console. They always release a whole generational difference in that comparison. But if Steam Frame, which is presumed what it's going to be called, comes out as basically the SteamOS PC, it could potentially turn all gamers that decide, I want the console experience, but with like a PC power and versatility. The Steam Frame could quite literally just replace Windows in a lot of areas and a lot of households because, well, if they have a browser, which I believe they do, and if the SteamOS is updated enough to where it basically it complements Windows 10 or something, not the trash Windows OSs, but any of the other ones, you could potentially turn every household into like, oh yeah, this thing's only $500 as opposed to buying a $3,000 desktop. But you could still get like a $3,000 experience out of a $500 purchase.
The majority of people who buy a PC, who are personal users, not business users, for example, spend between $500 and $1,000 and never play a single game on it.
True. I used to sell computers to people, and they would buy the cheapest thing they could possibly, like $300, and that's all. They would just do basic emails. So you're telling me if hypothetically, I don't know if it's gonna be $500, but maybe it'll be $500. But if Steam drops it for $500, and I mean, if they can sell the console at a loss because they're gonna make it back in the sales. Like they're gonna make the money easily.
But like this is one in corporate IT, we transitioned from. You have to transition people from software to software periodically, right?
I don't think we should transition people, but okay.
That is the most difficult thing to do when a user is used to a certain program on a certain operating system with a certain format for the device you're using it on. It is ridiculously hard.
True, but also keep in mind, gamers are much more flexible in that type of thing where they have to when they play a new game, they have to learn a whole new set of things.
But we're not talking about gamers.
Oh, I know. I'm talking the Steam Frame. So gamers will be the ones who buy it.
You just said though that the Steam Frame could replace like all personal computers in the country.
Not all of them. I said a lot of them, but here's the thing. Keep in mind, all they have to do is get in the market and stay there for generations. If they stay in gamers' households, well, gamers sometimes procreate. And then their kids or the younger kids who want video games, they'll get it and they'll be like, oh, this is what I'm used to. And their parents are like, Sonny, can you help me with this? I'm like, this is Windows nonsense. I don't do this. We do SteamOS over here. And all you have to do is eventually over time, could be 20 years, whatever. But if they keep producing a generational update over time and kids start getting into it, as the younger generations get older, it's going to push Windows out eventually, if it's good. I'm not saying it's guaranteed to be good or anything, but I mean, at this point, anything's better than Windows. So Windows keeps making it worse, but that's big corporations for you. But they could hypothetically change a good chunk of the stuff.
Microsoft is making Windows less desirable as a product.
Yeah.
But the underlying operating system of Windows, since Windows 7 came out,
Windows 7 was good.
Excepting Windows 8, the original version of it, have been great operating systems.
Well, I mean, there's only been
rock solid.
What, 2, 8, and 10?
7.
No. I'm saying between 7 and now, which is 11. So 7 and 11, you had 8 and 10.
And 10.
Well, yeah, but 8 was, I count 8 as 8.1.
No, I didn't say 8. I said 8.1.
Well, yeah, I'm saying Windows 8 and Windows 8.1 I count as the same one.
The reason people hate Windows 8 is because of the user interface.
Because it was trash.
But no. There's a complicated serious thing to happen with Windows 8 that, for example, they transitioned from the old driver interface to a new driver interface and didn't have all the available drivers needed until, like, they released it too soon, basically. had they released Windows 8.1 instead of Windows 8, which came out like a year later, 80% of the complaints about Windows 8 would have disappeared. Because what happened is a whole bunch of older devices needed new drivers, and Microsoft was trying to do the thing where they force you to buy new stuff, and they realized that was going
I
to
was the
fail
one
because
selling 8. It was a
yeah,
nightmare.
they realized that was going to fail because people wanted to keep their old devices that were perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So about a year later, when all the drivers have been updated and put in the Windows 8.1 library, Windows 8.1 felt a lot more comfortable for older people with older devices. Now the user interface problem was still there, but to be honest, Windows 10's interface is a lot more like Windows 8's interface than Windows 7. You know, and as you could you could manually revert it basically, which a lot of us do. But I'm as annoying as the Windows 8 interface was, it was the driver issue that people hated, that just hated.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of things to hate about it, but
no, technology wise, it was except for the driver thing and the audio stack, it was almost identical to Windows 7. Okay, it had the new user interface,
well,
and it had
Windows
the audio stack.
7's fantastic. I miss it.
Yeah.
I could play
Well,
older games on Windows 7, and then they're like, "No, we're gonna stop doing that for Windows 10." I'm like, "How about screw you?"
well, they got the problem is they didn't want to support the 16-bit code base anymore.
Like I said, screw you.
Well, no, but
at
it
least,
gets more
at least,
complicated.
at least give it like. I mean, they don't even have to support it. They just have to get like, here's what we had in Windows 7. Let people download it if they want to, and then operate with it. Like,
Well,
just run. Give us an alternative
but you
to
can't
it.
because it gets more. It's more complicated. Like, you remember the Y2K thing?
Oh no, because nothing happened.
Because people were alert enough ahead of time to fix almost all the holes. But a lot of stuff did happen. It's just we had fixed most of the holes, so that like the problems that did happen didn't crash the whole scene, right?
Yeah,
Well,
the end of the
in
world.
about 10 more years, 12 more years, the same problem happens with 32-bit software, right? They've run out of seconds for 32-bit software, so they have to by the year 2035 or 2040, something around there, they have to replace all computer clocks with 64-bit or 128-bit software, or they're all just going to crash. You know. So that's why you want to obfuscate older stuff not because you want to say you want to be because these lower numbers run out eventually. When someone this is funny, I remember talking to someone in the 1990s, and we're talking about like 16-bit numbers, and someone goes, one of my friends was in here goes, why would you ever need a number bigger than 16-bit number?
Ignorance.
You know,
ignorant mortal. But the
because as an engineer, you could do all math with 16-bit numbers. You just know how to manipulate the bigger number. You know what I mean? But the problem is, well,
all numbers can be manipulated. But that side, popularity of Valve's Steam Deck could lead to Valve to develop a more powerful desktop console-like device. This would allow Valve to deliver a console-like PC gaming experience using SteamOS. That said, this device would not feature many real advantages over traditional desktop PCs. Valve's Steam Deck is highly portable and launched with a much better UI than any Windows-powered PC handheld available at the time. Would a Valve console be as appealing as Valve's Steam Deck? Well, yes. You have a handheld that's also just stuck in your house, but is way more powerful. That's huge. But you also have all the access of, I mean, you still have cross-platform gaming and whatnot that can come from it. Ideally, the Steam OS, I'm trying to remember if it works this way on the Steam Deck, because I don't think I have tried it with like any EA stuff through Origin or whatever, or any third party, where if you launch it, it has to, because on Windows, if I buy Rainbow Six through Steam, when I launch it, it opens up Origin, and then you have to have Origin running while it's doing that, which means you have two programs running in the background instead of only one program running in the background to operate the game, which is a way to bog down your system and makes your game experience much worse. But if you take the I think in Steam Deck, when you launch it, it launches straight through it. Like it avoids EA, which is the ideal position. If you buy something on Steam, it should run from Steam. It should not require a third party. If they want to run the third party instead of Steam, they should be able to do that as well. But you shouldn't require both to be operating at the same time. But I think that this could completely change the console wars, because if you have a home-based system that operates on tier with a PS5, oof. Because okay, hundreds of thousands of games at your fingertips, as opposed to and growing at exponential speeds. But being able to access all of those, because it's a PC, you can mod it. Like, being able to play a modded Skyrim game, like Sky Oblivion just released a couple days ago, I believe. You'd be able to mod your games. You'd be able to customize stuff. But you'd be able to do all the stuff you can't do on PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, Nintendo Switch 2. Like, you can't even have a browser on the other consoles. SteamOS has a browser. You can watch movies, YouTube, a whole bunch. Like, it has more functions inherently just from the software side of things, which is all just part of the whole package anyway. So if you have SteamOS, you can do more. That's what I'm saying. It's like like all these other companies didn't really make their own OS. So by doing this, you'd have opened up a whole bunch of things. Like, oh, well, we have Spotify. Whoopity-doo! If you have a browser, you have Spotify. Like, it's not the end of... But also, the Steam console presumably lets you access both the keyboard and mouse and controllers, which the Steam Deck can do controllers and keyboard and mouse tab, as long as you have the USB ability to connect them in, which you can do once you set it in the dock and you put it on your TV. You can use a keyboard, mouse, you can do controllers, you can do wired controllers, you can do a whole bunch of different things. There's more versatility in a Steam based software. So I think this could be the hugest thing we have in the console industry wars, and I think it will decimate everyone. I think Sony will try to bottle up a lot more of their uniques, whatever they're called, exclusives. I think they'll try to bottle up more exclusives because that'll keep people playing PlayStation. But I mean, I just think it'll absolutely trounce anything, to the point where not selling their games on Steam will literally be a net loss for Sony. Just because, because if you're selling it to a smaller population of people, you're making less money than if you sell it to a mass amount of people, even at a lower price.
These consoles have canned audiences. So I don't know, what is that for 5 now?
PS5, yeah.
Yeah. So PS5 owners are majority going to buy a PS6 no matter what.
So, sure, and that might be the case. But if the PS6 comes out before the Steam frame, which is the presumed course of action, and the Steam frame comes out and is just like, yeah, we can basically curb stomp a PS6, people are going to abandon their PS6s. And if they don't sell them, they'll just stop playing them and they'll play a Steam frame, because a Steam frame will do everything and then some for a comparable price, presumably. But even if it is a little bit more, it's going to have a lot more features because it's operating like a normal computer. So that kind of stuff. But it says whether it's a console, accessory, or VR headset, I think it's probably going to be a console, because they have only a handheld at the moment and it's not powerful enough to completely combat anything else. And it's the one thing that Nintendo should do that they're not going to do, which is basically make their Switch 2 also have a Switch 2 that's just a home console that's more powerful, like can run like 4K. They should do that, but they're not going to do that because they're idiots. And they also think that people who like their stuff is a bunch of schmucks.
Well, yeah.
But then Valve's new Steam console just appeared online. This is not an accurate representation of what it'll look like, but it's just somebody saying it will be. Valve is set to return to the home console market with new machine to take on the likes of Xbox Series X, PS5, and Nintendo Switch 2. That's what they're claiming. Codenamed Fremont, this device has been rumored several times before, but it's now been spotted on Geekbench, leading some to believe it's closer to launch than ever. I don't think it's that close to launch. According to Insider Gaming, the listing, which includes the name Valve Fremont, reveals the box has a 6-core, 12-thread CPU running at 3.2 gigahertz. That doesn't seem particularly powerful. It is also aimed that it sports 8 gigs of DDR5 RAM.
That is ridiculously powerful.
That is? It doesn't seem very powerful.
People don't realize, like, we have long since passed the point of sanity. Like,
well, I mean, I'm alive, so I know that.
No, what I mean is a 6-12 CPU, to keep it simple. That's your mid-level PC. Mm-hmm. Your Intel and AMD, your mid-level, your PC that you're going to spend $200 to $300 by a $200 to $300 chip on, you're going to be a 612. Okay, in every generation. So, and your mid-level PC is more powerful than the majority of game PCs out there because generationally, like your mid-level PC is more powerful than the top-level PCs of the previous generation.
Yeah. It just, I maybe it's because my computer has specs, probably not, they're older specs versions of this, but I feel like that's not that particularly that high. But maybe that's just.
I have a 12-year-old laptop behind me. It might be 13 years old now. It's running a mid-level a CPU from back then. No, it's running a high-end CPU from back then, and I can still, like, if I plug it in, I can still browse the internet, still play World of Warcraft and StarCraft, that lower res with and all that.
Yeah.
Right. But it like there's a certain level of functionality has been achieved in terms of software that we really have not moved past. The only way we, except on in terms of GPU enhancements for video games or for high-end software like professional software. What you do on the majority of stuff your CPU does, other than running more of it at the same time, hasn't really been enhanced by consumer software. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we can run like 800 browser tabs now instead of like 16 of them.
Yeah.
You know.
I know because I do that.
Yeah.
Both of these sound pretty underpowered for a console mini PC. The Steam Deck comes with 16 gigs of RAM after all. I don't know if it's DDR5 though. But it might be that this is just a test device with plans to bump up the specs ahead of an actual release. It also shows it's running Windows 11 Pro, for example, which is strange considering a Steam console will surely be based on Linux and Steam OS. It's going to be Steam OS. There's no reason for them to put Windows 11 on there. Still, it's a positive sign that Valve continues to look at devices beyond its handhelds, or at least it's looking at them again. Didn't we already have a Steam console? This would not be Valve's first rodeo when it comes to home game machines. A decade ago, it partnered with numerous PC manufacturers to release Steam machines, paired back computers that ran on early version of SteamOS and Big. I don't remember that at all, actually. Several released over a 3-year period, but never really took off. I had one made by Asus back in the day, and it barely came out of the box. That was partly thanks to the bizarre Steam controller that swapped thumbsticks for touch panels. Yeah, I didn't like that. A tricky control system to get used to. It's likely that if the Fremont Steam console is to have better luck, it'll come with more familiar controller. I remember I had I probably still have it somewhere, the Steam Link, which basically let you hook the Steam Link to any TV in your house or whatever, and it would basically play Steam to any TV anywhere else. So if your PC's downstairs, you could have it connected to your room upstairs and whatnot. And I didn't fully understand what it was when I first got it, but I enjoyed it. That article didn't have very much about it that was useful. But yeah, that was more or less interesting. There was also, on a different note, this. GOG.com calls on Xbox gamers to start building their DRM-free game libraries on the platform. I've been doing this for a long time. We're waiting for you. GOG, the digital platform most famous for its staunchly anti-DRM approach to games it sells on the platform, has put out a public call to future Xbox gamers who might be considering building their own DRM-free library on the platform. Are you an Xbox user looking to build your DRM-free library on GOG? We've got the perfect news for you. You can now log into GOG with your Xbox account, putting you just one click away from buying games that will be yours to keep forever. We're waiting for you. Now, I have an Xbox Series X. I have all the Xboxes. I don't know how this would work on the Xbox, is the question. I also don't know if that means that every Xbox game is on GOG now. It doesn't necessarily make sense to me, but
I don't think it is. I think they just use your Xbox. I think they just cross-link your Xbox account. That's all they did.
The team took to social media.
My audio died. I'll be right back.
I can hear you. Okay, well, he's coming back. The team took to social media via Blue Sky to share that Xbox gamers can now link their Xbox Live account to GOG. Are you an Xbox user looking to start building your DRM-free library on GOG? We've got perfect news for you. Welcome back.
1 second.
I can hear you.
Yeah, I had to switch. I hear the click and then boom. I know I got. For some reason, it works fine once I just reload it, but
that's how
it's
that
like
works.
The browser just.
But yeah, we've got the perfect news for you. You can now log into GOG with your Xbox account, putting you just one click away from the games forever. We're waiting for you. They shared an image of the new account linking process, showing just how simple it will be for all existing Xbox gamers to link their accounts and start building their libraries on the platform. All this effort is linked to Microsoft's increasingly platform agnostic push. I don't know what that means. Promoting playing games wherever you are as opposed to be locked to a specific hardware platform. That is one of the nice things about Xbox syncing. They have more areas you can play their stuff. We also have the release of the upcoming joint venture between Asus and Xbox with the ROG Xbox Ally and the Xbox Ally X. Now, I do find it funny because from the perspective of like the Steam frame, for example.
Yeah.
You won't have to pay for an online subscription to be able to play your games online. Where you do for PlayStation and Xbox and Switch. Granted, the Switch is much, much cheaper, and you can do like family plans and stuff. But it's like, I don't know, anywhere between $80 to $130 to have a PlayStation like online account. That's just to play multiplayer. That doesn't include you going above and beyond and getting extra features that I don't understand the point of, but it is what it is. Where on a Steam frame, presuming it is a Steam frame and it is an actual console, you'd have internet immediately because Steam doesn't charge you to access games and play them online.
Nope.
Which should put them into we're going to shame everybody else category, because it's ridiculous we ever got to that position to begin with as a gaming industry. Thanks Xbox 360 for that. Even though I love the Xbox 360, that was a bad move.
Yeah, but the people who again are in the PlayStation and Xbox ecosystems,
yeah, they might continue, but it's like, look, I can save you money and increase the amount of things you can do.
I understand that, but most people don't make the decisions logically.
I understand that very much so. I deal with people every day, and it's a pain in the butt. All the effort is linked to blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we're at that part. We went hands-on for extended look at the ROG Xbox Ally. I don't really care about those because I'm not going to get one probably. With the new Xbox full screen experience bringing into multiple stores, including GOG.com, Battle.net, Steam, and Epic Games, the team at GOG are acting proactively to share the news that for Xbox gamers, the choice of when and where to play is soon going to be completely up to them. And that's what I really want to know is like, because I have like 200 games in my GOG, but I have like thousands in my Steam, and I have hundreds, if not several hundred, in my physical, like just my basement.
You have a lot of games, bro.
I have a lot of games. I'm what you would call a gamer. Fake gamer. I'm not like Anita Sarkeesian who shows up with a stack of games next to her. She doesn't even know what they are or what system they go to. But I would love to be able to play GOG on a Steam frame, which I think you'd be able to if it's like an actual Steam OS computer, like full on computer that you can like bounce between the computer, much like you can go on your Windows and split your screen to one side's one browser, one side's another browser, and you can activate multiple things simultaneously. If they do that, it's gonna be huge, like crazy huge. But that's interesting. I'm a big fan of GOG. But now we're gonna pivot an entirely different direction. And I'm going.
This is gonna be my last one, by the way. I'm pushing it, but we'll do it.
Okay, I was gonna say we had a small one after this one, but yeah. We're gonna do. Is it what Tarnation is going on? There we go. Okay, I don't know what's going on. So, for those of you who don't know who Arenanet is, allow me to introduce you. Arenanet is the folks who made Guild Wars 1 and Guild Wars 2, the MMORPG. I have loved Arenanet since I was in high school when I discovered them. And I got one of my friends involved with it, and we kind of got addicted. And the cool thing about it, compared to, because this came out, Guild Wars 1 came about when World of Warcraft came out. And where World of Warcraft was buy the game for like however much money it was, like 20 to $40, whatever. But you had to pay $15 a month to play it. Guild Wars 1 was you buy it and you don't have any online subscriptions, and it still doesn't. Yeah. And that's what let me buy it, is because I didn't have $15 a month. I couldn't guarantee I had $15 a month to do that. And this is obviously well before you could like grind in-game currency to turn it into real life stuff. So, and I don't know if I can guarantee I'd have the time to do that either way, unless I could somehow make like thousands and thousands of dollars by doing that. That would be kind of weird, but kind of cool at the same time. But Arenanet has this little portfolio thing. Level up your gaming career, hosted by women of Arenanet. Long story short, original devs for Guild Wars 1 and Arenanet were fantastic. It was like 5 guys in a freaking garage on old school compact computers, like the big honky head glass computers. We didn't know what we lost in the 2000s. But they went very ideological in Guild Wars 2 after a long time of not doing so, because I'm assuming they had a shift in their devs, and I have not been happy with a lot of their story, because their story has recently gone just full like non-binary. There's lesbians getting married, and none of this has anything to do with the story. Like, it doesn't affect the story. Like, if you're fighting elder dragons, nothing to do with that. They just like, hey, characters, we're gonna do this because reasons. And I've gotten to the point where I don't care about the story in Guild Wars 2. I just want to go to the places. I want to explore, do events, get loot, and get out. I don't care about the story. I will actively skip everything because I just don't care. It's not made for gamers. It's made for people who share the ideology. Now, if you share their ideology, cool beans, you'll enjoy it, or whatever the case is. If you don't care about their ideology, you could still play the game and have fun. There's a lot of content that doesn't have any of that in it. But now they're doing this, and I stumbled across this through Facebook, and it's an event that's hosted by Arenanet for women of Arenanet, as it's supposed to get you, or you as in women, an idea of what it would be to like work at a big game company, development company. It's about 3.5 hours long. You have to be 16 plus, blah, 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 blah. About the event, we're back to 2025. Join women of Arenanet at Geek Girl Con, which sounds like a very sexist con, for an in-person portfolio review event. Whether you're building your first portfolio or refining an existing one, you'll get personalized feedback from game industry professionals, questionable on that one, to help you grow your creative skills and better understand what studios look for. I want somebody to go to this and get me all the inside details, because I'm not a woman, for one. And 2, they wouldn't let me in if they knew who I was. So, portfolios in all areas of game development are welcome, including art, animation, design, UI, engineering, and more. Check a ticket options, blah, blah, blah. We offer focus sessions with real-time one-on-one feedback from professionals in the field. Time slots will be emailed to attendees closer to the event, and we encourage participants to bring a digital portfolio on devices such as laptop, tablets, and website URLs accessed from your own laptop or tablet. Please do not bring thumb drives. This is a great opportunity to learn, network, and other aspiring devs and take actionable steps on your journey into the game development. And then it has the event's free, but the tickets you have to get from Geek Girl Con. And then they have a whole bunch of frequently asked questions. Blah,
How many
blah.
What do the tickets cost for this event?
The event are free, but the Geek Con you have to pay for.
So this conference or whatever.
So you access the con. You have to pay for it to access the con, but this particular event is free.
Well, I guess it means it's worth 0. So there you go.
I mean, if it was just women being able to relate to women, and it was just talking about game development, that would be fine, I think, because
this is a standard leftist preaching to the crowd, preaching
you're going to a con that's clearly aimed at women. So I feel like unless you're a male feminist, you're not showing up to this con because you're like, but it says it's for women. Why would they want men there? Like, why would I go?
Yeah.
And I believe this is in like Washington or Oregon or something. I don't remember where it is. Could be Cali, I suppose. I don't know. It's on the West Coast. But it smacks of something like if I showed up and I said I have this ticket and like, but you're not a woman, you can't come in, kind of a thing. I have questions. Yeah, it's Seattle, Washington. But like they have so many things that are specifically about women. It's like that's misandrous, but okay. I'm not against women getting into game development if that's what they desire to do, but I want them to be taught by people who actually know what they're talking about and actually have a desire to make good quality stuff and basically turn it into a meritocracy. I don't know if that's possible due to the fact of I am aware I have a buddy who worked for Arenanet, and they were very much in an ideological perspective for a lot of that stuff. Most of the original crew that made the first game and the beginning parts, like the core version of the game for the Guild Wars 2, aren't there anymore. And they're pushing a lot of progressive stuff, which may or may not bother you. Sorry, parents.
No, I mean, look, this is just. I mean, this is just.
Arenanet does not have enough goodwill built up for me to believe that this is just a purely innocent, non-ideological thing. Let's put it that way.
Well, it's obviously a purely ideological thing.
I mean, if they just said hosted by Arenanet, if you're a woman or a man who wants to come learn, I wouldn't have any problems. If it says by women of Arenanet, it's going to be all women staff. But that doesn't imply that they're going to be the best staff to learn from, because maybe, and it could be the case, I'm not going to say it isn't, that the women at Arenanet have some of the best meritocracy-based wise game developers. They might be. But I don't want just a woman or a man because they're just a woman or a man. I want whoever the best is to teach me the best they can so I can, work on this stuff. Because if I'm getting a man because they're a man or a woman because they're a woman, I'm not necessarily getting the best. I'm just getting somebody who's of a particular sex. Yeah. I want whatever the actual totality is. I want it to be whatever I can get to improve myself. I don't care if it's a man or a woman. I just want the best. Women of Arenanet just tells me it means the females at Arenanet. It doesn't mean they're the best. So they may be better than the random Joe Schmo that starts up in the industry, but it doesn't mean that the person they're guiding into building their portfolio and also potentially tips.
No, be fooled by this. So the 80% who know that women of Arenanet conference is bullshit aren't going to go, and the 20% who do go are in the thought bubbles. So they don't even know it's bullshit.
Well, also, like I just see, was it Girl Geeking? What's it called? Blah, 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 blah. Geek Girl Con. Geek Girl Con, just to me specifically, does not scream a con for everyone. It's a con for geek girls. So would I, if I was in Washington, Seattle, Washington, would I be able to just go in and walk around and enjoy the sights, or are they going to be like, "You're not a girl, you can't be here," which is funny because I'd be like, "Did you just assume my gender?" Just throw them off for a loop. The best way to get in there is throwing a nose ring. I'll blend right in. But it's like hearing, oh gosh, to be a fly on the wall, build skills, grow confidence. How do I know I'm going to be building good skills? Are you guaranteeing that the skills are excellent? I don't know. I don't know what they have to offer, but if anybody's going to this, hit me up with a recording of the 3.5 hour event or the transcripts or whatever the case is, whatever you can get your hands on. I'd love to go over it. I'd be absolutely tickled pink if it was just pure gaming stuff and it had nothing to do with ideology. I'd be tickled pink. But playing that game every day, religiously, forever, since high school, and that's been, what is it, 19 years? 19 years I've been playing Guild Wars. I don't have that confidence because they do the LGBTQ emblem thing. They do in-game events. Like they had an LGBTQ or a lesbian wedding event in the game that people could attend. It's just, it's not about games. It's about real life. And it pisses me off because I don't care about real life. I'm playing a game to get away from real life.
No, but I mean, look, I'm not going to defend that, but you know, there's been stuff like stuff done in game when your gamer buddy dies or whatever, you have funerals.
Well, sure, but that's players operating it. This is developers making actual events and having voice actors come in, program scenes, program locations, changing the location so it's in a wedding format. Like, this is completely, like, vamped for this. Now, granted, it's not like it's there permanently or anything, but it's just like, why are we here? We don't have this for any non-lesbian couples. We don't have this for straight couples. We don't have it for anybody else. Plenty of other characters are, like, just poised at the point where they're going to get into a relationship and you're just like, we're just waiting for it to happen, but we're not going to get a whole freaking event for that either because they're not lesbians, they're not gays, they're not, you know, LGBTQ or whatever. They're normal people, so can't have that. Despite the game being like moderately progressive where men and women can join a military organization and fight the bad guys. I'm like, well, yes, but we're the last line of defense. It is what it is. You don't have enough manpower to do it with the way that, with all the fighting and death and everything, but that's a different story. I just want it. I don't know. It gives me these kind of vibes.
Yeah.
Meet the Beauties of the upcoming 007 First Light.
These
are Bond girls.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be. We know the game's gonna be whatever, but
like, I'm sorry, I have never seen a hideous Bond girl before. Until Craig, that should say.
Well, that all being said, like, because this has got to be it for me.
Yeah. This is the last thing I had. So.
Yeah, we know that conference is woke for the woke.
The ideological for the ideological.
Yeah, we know just by the way they phrase it and all that, and because it wasn't woke for the woke, they wouldn't say, they wouldn't phrase certain. There are certain code words in the phrasing. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
you know,
it's just that I'm.
But the good thing is
sick of this.
The good thing is that in general, we're pushing back hard enough that we're currently winning in the war. Barely.
Not in James Bond territory, unfortunately.
No, but there'll be what's gonna happen because Amazon has the Bond license now, and they fired that chick who was doing all the woke stuff.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge?
No,
or you're talking Jennifer Salke.
Jennifer Salke. They fired her. So I think they realized that their non-woke stuff was dramatically outperforming their woke stuff. Like they got rid of Wheel of Time, for example.
Yeah, apparently they're getting rid of that entire license and everything, which is nice.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's in the deal, by the way, that they have to. Because during the Wheel of Time, there's been contention over the license for like 25 years, basically.
Ready to go entertainment, yeah.
Yeah. So I think when Amazon got it from the people who have it, they said, look, if you're not going to do this show or you cancel the show, you have to give up the license. Like that was in the deal that they made with them.
That should have been the thing that Bandersnatch did, but they didn't do that.
So now the question is, will Harriet and whatever who has the license from Harriet?
Well, Bandersnatch is Harriet's company, and then Red Eagle Entertainment had the license, and I think Red Eagle Entertainment sold it to Amazon.
If they sold to Amazon, then Harriet has it back.
Well, maybe it was a lease. I don't know how they did it, but I believe Red Eagle Entertainment had it, and then Amazon got it through Red Eagle Entertainment. But I don't know if that means Red Eagle Entertainment gets back or if it goes back to Harriet. I don't know. They need to just make an anime. That's what they need to do. Wheel of Time needs an anime and then leave it there.
I'm hoping that now that the woke part of Amazon is gone,
well, partially there's still woke people there.
Well, the woke control of these shows is what I'm saying. Amazon will Wheel of Time will gesticulate for 5 or 6 years. I'll live long enough to see it, and we'll get some new Wheel of Time product out of
it. Well, maybe. I don't know about that, but either way, that's all I really had. It's kind of disheartening, but either way, if you gotta go, good sir, go ahead and I'll wrap us up. But if you want to give yourself a shout out before you leave, that's cool. But if not,
sure. My usuals. Well, when you guys all see this,
Sunday.
Well, weekly I do Wednesday nights Overbooked, a wrestling show, and then weekly I do this show, and then weekly I do Roman of the Empire on Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And so those are my regular events. Just keep it simple.
Cool. All right, good sir. I will close out. I'll see you. I'll see you a little bit afterwards.
Yeah, I should give me 15 or 20 minutes to get around to bed.
Take your time. I'll be here.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Bye.
Later. All right. Now it's just you and me. That's probably not a good thing for you. All right. So to wrap up, Matt obviously shouted himself out. You can check out his YouTube channel in the description, as well as on the friends tab of the was it the other communities or whatever on YouTube. Also, if you're into things like anime, Japanese culture, Asian culture in general, or mangas or whatever, you can check out Crimson Law. He's also in the description. Also on also on the YouTube channel's page. I've been adding them, and unfortunately they get a little out of hand, but I mean, I'm gonna butcher it if I don't do this properly, because it's how I run. What in tarnation is going on? Okay, there we go. Dude, nope, that's the wrong button. What are we doing? What are we doing? Go back. There we go. The background NPC, if you're interested in kind of cozy, fun little topic discussions with a very charming young lady that makes great content, in my opinion. She's very successful, we'll put it that way. But I think you should check it out. She has really thoughtful takes on things related to basically what we see all over the internet. You may have come across her through Asmongold, because Asmongold's how she got really, really big, because she makes good content, and she was just discovered and still makes great content and is just big now. And I'm super happy for her, because she makes enjoyable content. I want her to keep making content, because I want to keep watching it. But yeah, cozy, talk about game culture, pop culture, all that kind of stuff. She has some really good Nintendo breakup videos. I think at least 2. So check those out if you're interested. That link should also be in the description. And then the Nerdporeal Life Form. Check out him. He'd be in the description as well. He's a cool guy, and he's reading through Wheel of Time, so we'll see how he survives. And we're trying to get something set up so I can hang out with him for one of the nights on his stream, but we got to figure out all that stuff. So we'll see how that works. It'll happen eventually. That's all I can say. I don't know when. Let's see what else. He's in the description below as well. If you're in the market for like a desktop PC, kind of tied into the Steam Valve thing, Meta PCs is a veteran-owned company that supports our corner of the internet, anti-censorship and all that stuff. Use code 199 to support Geeks and Gamers, not me. None of this supports me. Get you a percentage off, presumably, however long that code lasts. But then customize stuff, or you can get pre-built computers, whatever you're in the market for, if you're in the market for something. Check out ayakamods and DEG mods. Both of them are anti-censorship modding communities, and they're both really cool. Not necessarily safe for work, depending on what you're looking at. So keep that in mind. Viewer discretion is advised. DEG is also looking to kind of become a platform/publisher of their own, where they can kind of prevent this whole PayPal nonsense, and introduce other means for people to enjoy what they enjoy and mod. So check them out as well. And as for me, Sundays you'll get videos like this, usually with Matt or Sage or somebody on. And come out 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. On Fridays, you also get a release, usually just a video of me, 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then on Tuesdays, you can come hang out with yours truly, because everybody wants to come hang out with me. You can come hang out with me, yours truly, and get a real, authentic gaming stream out of it, because nobody is authentic except for me on the internet. But no, I'm just another person on the internet who plays games because I enjoy them, but also I want you to come hang out in the chat and hang out, shoot the breeze. Let's do some fun topics. I've talked about philosophy. I've talked about Magic the Gathering. I've talked about a bunch of different things. If you have a question, I'd love to answer it. Or if you just want to talk about the games, let's talk about the games. I'm down for it, as you can tell, for all my stuff. Behold my stuff. So, that's Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, and I usually go until like 2 or 3 in the morning, because I'm a hardcore gamer and I have problems. I finished the Fables trilogy. I'm going to finish. I'm closing in on finishing Time Splitters 2. I've already I platinum Time Splitters 1. I'm platinuming Time Splitters 2. And then I'll play Time Splitters 3. I might take a break for Time Splitters and play something else, because they have a couple games coming out that I'm interested in. But we'll see what happens with that. I might just bulldoze into Time Splitters 3 just to get it finished, and then who knows what we're going to do. But you can join the Discord and the Twitter/X if you'd like. Links are in the description. Follow me on X if you just want to hear me ramble on comments on people's stuff. And whatever I post. Or you can do, obviously, Discord, and on Discord you got memes. Everybody loves memes. We've got just people to hang out and chill. I'd love to grow the community a bit. There's a way you can vote for what game you'd like to see me play, that you don't have to pay for. Maybe one day I'll get paid for that, but not today. It is not this day. We have lots of conversations about Lord of the Rings because we're fanatics. Wheel of Time, fanatics. But also, you can vote on games that I have that I can play, and then also put forward ideas for games I don't have that I could potentially keep an eye out for and get, so I can play them for you. Also, I have an entire installation guide for the Lord of the Rings Battle from Middle-earth all-in-one launcher, so you can have a free copy of Lord of the Rings Battle from Middle-earth 1, 2, and expansion, The Rise of the Witch King. And the Discord that originally came from is in the bottom of that installation guide. And hey, if you want to play sometime, whether it be Valheim, Guild Wars, Lord of the Rings Battle from Middle-earth, Age of Empires 2, whatever the case might be, I'd love to play with people as a group or whatever. Lots of games to play. So let me know what you think. Come hang out in the chat, all that kind of stuff. I'm active on Discord every single day. So if you guys post something, I will respond to it. So that's the fun part. So thanks everybody for hanging out. We're going to end it here. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. So thanks everybody for stopping by. Remember, my friends, walk in the light.